Too sexy for my hat. Too sexy for my hat. Too sexy. What? Hey, you kids! Get off my lawn! This is the Cranky Old Man. Welcome to Cranky's Corner. Sensible wife took me shopping today. Got a new hat. Good-natured wife. Love her to death. And I got this. The 2018 release by Judas Priest. We're talking about Firepower. This album had the band hitting on all cylinders. Cranky vision. The 1990, Judas Priest came out with an album called Painkiller. And it was them. I mean, you want to talk about a phoenix rising from the ashes story. Painkiller was them pissing all over their territory, man. They tore it up with that album. It's great. It was one of their seminal classics. But then, Halford leaves. Halford leaves in 90. 2005, Halford comes back. Now, between 90 and 2005, they kicked around with basically the same lineup and a singer named Tim Ripper Owens. And they did some albums that I really liked quite a bit. They did 2 of them, 2 live, 2 studio. I liked them. A lot of people didn't. I think if Ripper had been with other bands and did it, it would have been a lot better. But fans just didn't receive Ripper Owens really well with Priest. But I thought they were excellent, and I liked Ripper a lot. Anyway, they come out with Angel of Retribution in 2005, and it's the return of Rob Halford. And I gotta admit, it was a solid album. It seemed like they were still trying to get their footing back, trying to figure out where they were. But it was solid. It really was. And then they came out with 2008. They didn't do an album between 2005 and 2008. And then when they came out in 2008, they came out with this concept piece called Nostradamus. And all I can say about Nostradamus is I'm pretty damn glad they got it out of their system. Because I can probably listen to about half of it without falling asleep. I mean, all right. You want to talk about what's wrong with Nostradamus? It's about an hour too long. It's just bloated, and it's full of strings and synthesizers and concepts. It's just something that, just Priest isn't. And, maybe wanted to be or wanted to try to be. And then they took, I'm not going to say they took some time. They toured, they did other things. Then in 2014, they came out with a really good album called Redeemer of Souls. And unfortunately, that album, though, would be the last album K.K. Downing plays on. He retired. He went on later to form KK's Priest, something we talked about in a different video. But for the most part, this was his final album. The final team up with Glenn Tipton and K.K. Downing. And he would leave, and he would be replaced by Richie Faulkner. So Faulkner's first album was actually Redeemer of Souls. And it was a pretty solid album. It really was. It was good. I enjoyed it. And then in 2018, they came out with this one. They came out with Firepower. And I've got to tell you, this album is a straight up face punch from top to bottom. Firepower is really heavy. Lightning Strikes, Evil Never Dies. Never the Hero is kind of slower but heavy. Necromancer, Children of the Sun is another one that's kind of mid-tempoed. This is what I liked about this album. They mixed up tempos too. That was my big complaint about Painkiller. A lot of people are saying this is the best one since Painkiller. I think it's better than Painkiller. Just because they have the tempo changes, the things that made Priest Priest. Now, there's an important thing to mention here. On this album, Glenn Tipton isn't playing on it. Glenn Tipton, I forgot what his illness was, but he had to leave Priest. And the producer, Andy Sneap, joined in. Andy's still playing with him on tour. He came in and he played guitar on this. So it was now the guitar duo of Richie Faulkner and Andy Sneap. And they both wrote some very Priest-like songs. As a matter of fact, they really captured the spirit of Priest. I'm pretty sure Ian Hill had something to do with it. Bass player, being one of the original members. And I'm sure Rob chimed in a little bit. And, Faulkner getting a chance to work with Tipton probably really got his feet wet, in the Priest style of things. And Andy Sneap being a fan, also, they got it. But this album is just all killer, no filler from top to bottom. My least favorite song is probably the last one, Sea of Red. And it's just because it's a little mellow and it's really not my favorite one. But this is just more in a line of bands like I talked about before, the old guard putting out new stuff. And the new stuff is really good. They're taking their time, they're doing it right. They're taking 3, 4, sometimes 7 years. And for the most part, with the exception of, maybe one who shall remain nameless, Def Leppard, they did a really, really incredible, stellar job. If you get a chance, swing by and pick this up. Judas Priest Firepower. It also, and this was something that was really cool. If I can pull it out there. It's got lyric sheets too. It's a double album. These things also, and seems to be something Priest does a lot. It comes with, let me cover that up because I don't want anybody to see it. It's a download card. You got a code. You download it to the internet. You push that code in on a website. They give you a digital copy of this album so you can take it with you wherever you want to go, which I think is really, really awesome for guys like me. So I can put it into my MP3 player that I talked about in the last video and take it with me anywhere. Now, I do have one small complaint. It's an old man complaint. See how they do this? They've got like a picture on one side, and they've got the song listings on the other. Now, practically all the albums I've been getting these days, AC/DC does it, Iron Maiden does it, Judas Priest has done it. I even think Black Sabbath did it. But don't quote me on it. The problem is they don't tell me which side is side 1 and which side is side 2. So I've got no damn idea. Just put the song listings on both sides and mark it side A, side B, so old people like me can find it. That would be wonderful. Anyway, I just wanted to do a quick rant on the album. I will holler at you later. Until next time, stay cranky.